Pull up the.
Have you? Sorry, I was just watching the police car chase down whatever's chasing down.
Yeah.
I was wondering what they're doing.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a flat Earth?
The flat Earth.
Yeah, like people that believe the Earth is flat.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
they're really dumb
Why?
because the Earth's not flat.
What's your best proof that it's round?
NASA going to the moon.
What if NASA lied about going to the moon?
Like, bro, I'm not gonna talk to
Okay.
you about the flat Earth.
All right.
Believe what you want, but the Earth's round.
Do you feel it spinning? We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
This thing has a crack from something like that. What? Why are you guys so fucking hell bent on telling everybody that the world is flat? Like, I know that you believe it, but like, why does it make you happy?
That's cool. Thank
I think it's something that everybody deserves to know.
But everybody knows, like, I guess there's idiots that don't fucking care about it. Like, I know it's a fucking hot topic of discussion amongst smart people, but like dummies, they don't fucking even know what you're talking about. But like, what makes you like take your day and put up a sign like that? Like, why does it make you feel so happy?
I think people deserve the truth.
Everybody deserves the truth, but they're like, if you're not dead yet, how do you know what the truth is? If you were never an astronaut, how would you fucking really know? Unless you were up there.
I think that the Earth is fixed and not a sphere is actually one
I think
of
I'm
the
an alien.
You are?
Yeah, I'm a gray. My mom was abducted, and it was some Illuminati shit. And I feel like I don't even belong here.
Your mom was in the Illuminati? Or?
Her father, yeah. And she, in high school, she was Canadian. My dad was from Spain. And then, they went to Germany, and they did crazy acid trips, and it was Illuminati weird shit. And I go to the Redwoods, and I took my car in for an oil change. They'll give me a loaner, and I go back down to the Redwoods again. But there's a Redwoods fucking event where all the fucking ex-presidents go. They butt fuck each other, like in the woods.
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go and hang out, and I just fucking do mushrooms, and I just sit there like close by, and I'm like, oh, you guys are fucking weird.
You've been there? Huh. So it's like
My family's labeled as terrorists, but we're not terrorists. The fucking feds kick the door down and like everything, but they still let us go, and they just kind of watch me all the time. But my family's in Mexico now, and they're never coming back to the United States. And I don't think there's anywhere safe. My brother's hardcore military, and he tells me about what goes on. He's a special forces army ranger, but he's a halo jumper, and his language is Indonesian, so he's in Thailand or all these other fucking Asian countries, constantly cheating on his wife. That's another story that makes me mad. But I was like, why do you fucking teach people? Because he's like, I just teach people how to fight. I was like, why do you teach people that are like supposedly our enemies how to fight? Well, this is what it is. We need to take the underdogs and teach them how to fucking overtake their government, so that when shit does hit the fan, like World War III, then we have these people that we've trained that didn't have anything. We've taken care of them to fucking say, bang, snap, pull the plug on their government. I don't know, it's weird. But I think that's how the fucking military works. I think it's how the upper shit works. I think it's how the lower shit works too. But you gotta look at it in a real world perspective, and it's just fucked up.
What's going on, guys?
Hey guys.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, dude. Space projection is totally real.
So you guys ever you believe we went to the moon, or
What?
you think we went?
I believe in the Van Allen radiation, though.
Okay, so you don't think we went to the moon?
What?
You don't think we went to the moon?
No, the footage is fake.
Okay,
Why did it?
okay, so you think we didn't go to the moon?
No, I think we went, but the footage is fake because the Van Allen radiation about the soil.
So the moon landing footage is faked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was space.
So, but they faked that, and then they stopped faking everything after that.
What do you think about the ancient Sumerians that have drawn representation of the planets?
I think that's just like fake, just damn close.
The ancient Sumerians believed in a flat, motionless Earth, as did
What about space?
I think they didn't believe in space.
What do you mean the drawings are like way yeah.
People, okay, people until 500 years ago, everybody thought the Earth was flat.
You know each other?
He just likes our sign, I think. He knows it's not a spinning ball.
Wow, thanks, sir. Come on, Charlie. He just hates the sand. He doesn't like walking on the damn hole. Come on. Come on. Charlie, get out and look. Charlie, Charlie.
How's it going?
Good, how about you?
Good.
What a nice day, huh?
Yeah. You guys believe we went to the moon?
What's that?
You believe we went to the moon?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. You ever look into like maybe we didn't?
What is it?
You ever look into like maybe we didn't go there? We just said we did?
I've heard that theory.
Do you know Neil Armstrong said he never saw stars in space?
Is that right?
Yeah. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Not really.
Really?
Stars are much further away than planets and moons.
But they're pretty bright here on Earth, right?
They are. Yeah.
So you'd think when you got outside the atmosphere they'd be really bright.
You would think.
Yeah.
I've never been in space to know,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah, I've just been looking into these things, and the more I look, the more I find stuff I find questionable about NASA. So
Yeah.
just
Well-
trying to plant seeds, make
No,
it.
no,
All
I
right.
understand.
Cool, thanks. Yeah.
Enjoy the day.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a sphere. But then when it's winter, it's dark because it tilts. That makes sense. And when it's flat, how? Like,
Yeah, actually, I don't think there is a blue fire.
well, there is. I mean, people live there. People live in Anchorage. It's limited.
In the north, there is. In the north, but not in the south, I think.
I just.
Let me show you this one picture here.
Hey, you're not Casey Simpson, are you? I just found this credit card on the computer. I bet I could probably figure out who. It probably wants his back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of.
You believe that too?
Yeah, I mean, it
And
sounds.
the only thing I agree with him is that men haven't been to space
Shit.
or the moon.
I'll get that. There you go.
So here's what the ice wall looks like.
That's just the glaciers up in Alaska.
Yeah, maybe. But then, okay. So you know how the stars move in the sky?
But a sphere will make sense because night and day, you know? How does the sun end up moving then? The sun doesn't move, the sun stays
It
still.
goes around in a circle.
It just makes sense because
Like,
that's
just
the
like this.
explanation you've been given since you were
Have you
like.
seen the star trails before?
They go around like that.
Yeah. And see, this is what NASA says we're doing. But if these are only showing movement in one direction, but this model right here, this is like 5 different directions. Because they say we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, which accounts for this. But then they say we're going around the sun at 60,000 miles an hour, while the sun goes around the Milky Way at 500 million miles an hour. Well, the whole Milky Way goes around the Great Attractor at like millions and millions of miles an hour. Yet the only thing that happens, Polaris never moves, and all the other stars go in a circle around it.
And the constellations are gonna be in the same spot like every day for your whole life.
Yeah. Do you know any of the stars in the sky?
I don't. Maybe the North Star.
Polaris.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Polaris.
Yeah.
That's this one. That's the one to know. 'Cause that one
It'll never change. It'll never move. And so they say everything's expanding faster than the speed of light and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The universe is expanding, and we're going like this around the sun, but yet the stars never change. So that's one thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the heliocentric model, which is why all these ancient cultures believed.
But what would they
these
say?
different
What would
things.
they say is a sphere? What would they say? Hey, there is a wall. There is edge here.
Ooh.
But NASA, what would they? Why would they lie?
Well, they get over $50 million a day. for one thing. But also, what if there was more land, like I was telling you, like outside the circle? What if they were hiding land? That would be a pretty easy way to do it. It also makes
But then
people.
that's not NASA. There's other world, space agencies. There's
Yeah,
Russia. There's
they're all
Japan.
in it.
There's China.
They're in on it.
You can look at all their logos and they all have like similar symbology. You can look all into it. And it's like they all have this like red vector symbol and.
So that
they're
picture
all-
they get. This
Yeah.
picture.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this. See how North America is two different sizes here?
Yeah.
And this is what they give us is like the official picture of where you live.
This is just made up on a computer. It's not real.
So them exploring Mars and seeing pictures, photos of Jupiter, and
They're making all that up. You know where the Mars is filmed in Devon Island, Ireland. So or Greenland maybe. But they're basically just filming it in this barren, rocky landscape and
Okay,
then adding a red
how about the
filter.
satellites? They're
They're-
falling sideways.
There's something
There's,
up
they
there.
won't. It won't happen if it's not a sphere. It'll just fall down. A satellite. It's going out into. It's in outer orbit, right? It's still in this, in our atmosphere, but it's falling sideways, not able to fall into the ground because the world's spinning. That makes sense.
Do you know how high a geostationary satellite has to be?
Pretty damn high.
Like 22,000 miles. So do you think NASA back in the 60s, before we even had cell phones or anything like that, they could just send this thing 22,000 miles up and have it stop perfectly in line with like the orbit of the Earth and have it set there? Meanwhile, it's in the thermosphere, which means it's in 6,000 degree temperatures, and it's just beaming back the signal to send you your ESPN. What makes more sense? They're doing that, or they're just sending it from all these towers that are all around us?
They can send it from the towers, but they have GPS locations.
Same thing. You just triangulate.
But you can see the satellite. You can see it blinking.
There is
Lights going across.
there is something in the sky. I don't know what it is.
It's gotta be a sphere. That's all I could think of. The thing is, it's so huge, you're not able to see it.
Well, but so they
Or-
say it's like 25,000
but you
miles
can-
around, and so there's a formula for that.
You can send a balloon up to 121,000.
But they have a kid did that. A kid did send it all the
Field
way,
trip.
Really?
all the way.
The
Some
Red
kid,
Bull.
and then he saw the curve.
You talking about the Red Bull thing?
Not the Red Bull. It was a kid in elementary school. He wanted to see it himself, and I guess he attached a balloon. He attached a GoPro on it. Sent it all the way up to the sky.
You know, GoPro has a fisheye lens on it though.
So
That's
for-
what makes it look curved.
This is what happens if you go on YouTube and you put high altitude amateur balloon. This is what it looks like. It's flat.
And you see water all around you, and it always looks perfectly flat. But then it's like 3/4 of the planet.
It
and
looked kind of round to me when I was on
how
the
can
plane.
that curve around?
I know. I would say just look again though, because I thought that too. Go look
Sounds
again
nuts.
next time you're on a plane. It's flat as can be, man. Because think about it though, even if it's curving out the window, where's it going to connect? Because if you look out the other window, how is it curving on both sides, right? The only thing you would see if it was a ball would be the horizon would get lower the higher you go up. But actually, that's not what happens. The horizon is always eye level. If you look now at the horizon right now, that's eye level, right?
You're seeing a short.
But if you go up on an airplane,
Like
it
this,
stays
like
eye level.
this, the horizon will like rise to meet your eye the whole way up here. But if it was a ball, it would just like keep getting further below you.
It just doesn't make any sense.
That's just it's
To
just
me, it makes
because-
sense for it to rotate around the
it's
sun.
Like, totally goes
Yeah.
against everything you've ever been told. And it's surprising, and that's why like we're out here. 'Cause think
Because
people
we're,
wanna know
I mean,
about
I'm upset. I mean, it's crazy, and most people don't want to listen to it. They think it's
No.
obvious we live on a spinning ball, and I understand. I thank you guys for sticking around and listening, but I hope you, if you're curious, you could go on YouTube and type in NASA deception. Because if you just search for like,
So what the sun?
yeah,
That's just flat.
I don't know what it is. It's certainly beaming down light. But one way you can, one thing about the sun you can tell, so it's called crepuscular rays. So when have you seen this before?
When it comes through the clouds?
Yeah. So you see how it's splayed out like that? That means that it's close. That means if you can trace back the light rays to the source like this. That means it's close, because if it was 93 million miles away, like they said, the light rays would be coming in parallel everywhere. But they're not. They're coming in like a spotlight right over that one spot, which means it's very close. It's a very close
You gotta
sun.
try that in real life. Gotta get a light bulb or something.
The thing is to remember is that the light rays always trace back to the sun, because people would try to say that, oh, it's just hitting the top of the cloud and then splitting from there. But that's not what's happening, because you can trace the rays actually right back to the light source. So you can tell that that's not what's happening.
So what's moving? Only the sun? We're not moving?
Correct.
The sun moving.
And all the stars. The
Just what
stars,
it feels like. That's that
So the
we're
Earth
standing
just
still
stays
and there's
still.
nothing around us. Yeah.
flat and motionless. Yeah.
I think there's an edge of the world, but they don't even tell us.
Yeah. Do you guys believe in the Bible at all?
Yeah, I do.
The Bible is a flat Earth book.
I don't know.
Yeah, in this like second chapter of Genesis says, well, first of all, God made the earth before He made everything else.
Yeah.
So
This is water.
so you can't have that first day until you have the sun, right? So there's that. But also it says that God put a dome over the earth right away. Like
Atmosphere.
He said, they call it a firmament or it's called a dome. Check it out. Yeah, it's like right away. And then He split the waters from the waters. So it's water up there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. He's got this sweet camera. It's called the P900, and you can zoom in on the stars at night. And like they look crazy. They look like they're flashing through all the colors, and it looks just like you're looking at a light underneath water. So yeah,
It's crazy.
it's very mysterious what's going on up there, but you can't just believe like the official story.
No,
You know, there's a
the
lot
one
of-
thing I don't believe, man hasn't been to space.
Yeah, you don't
exactly.
think so? Yeah.
They can't.
I know. So that's great that you know that. But
They
so
don't. They
they're-
just launch a rocket. And somehow there's no men in there.
And
they're-
it goes sideways and
Yeah.
down, and they're like, yeah, space.
It just crashes in the ocean.
So
They just won't tell us.
so well, yeah, but you can't go to space.
No, I don't believe they can go to space, and they don't have the technology or the material to make it out there.
So that means you can't trust anything they say.
I don't trust what NASA says because I don't believe they made it to the moon.
Yeah.
That was a hoax. That was only made because Russia, they were afraid that Russia was going to take over.
Yep, yeah, they got it just like Russia.
Yeah, they filmed it in Arizona, or New Mexico,
And then
somewhere around
after
there.
they said it,
Oh yeah, no, it's too much money, we wasted too much.
yeah.
I'm like, bull.
There's a couple of YouTube channels you can check out.
I'll check. But still, it's hard to believe that the Earth moved.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
really
that's because
hard.
you've been conditioned since birth to like believe. It's like brainwashing level. I mean, globe in every classroom, like every movie you watch has like the Universal Studios,
I mean,
like
it's been,
spinning ball.
it has to be proven. I think it's been proven with math because a lot of the stuff you guys do is math.
You can make math say we're living on an octagon if you want, right? You can make math. There's a reason I think.
So you believe the edge of the Earth is towards Antarctica,
No.
or the North and South Pole?
South Pole.
South Pole only.
They'll show you the North. It's kind of cold out here.
Yeah, it is.
So you think we're living in a flat pancake?
No, well, no. So
It's a
not.
circle? It's not a circle.
It's not even like a disc or anything floating through space. It's like maybe just an infinite, like, just firmly attached. You know, like it's. I don't know what to think about with the world is like. So a lot of the times, like half the people are upside down.
Here's the.
I don't know.
That's what you believe. That's,
And
This
this is like the UN
North Pole and the
right
South
here.
Pole.
This is what the UN uses.
So this, I don't know if this map is 100% accurate or not, but this makes more sense. Because if you look at flight routes, like I was saying, so I went to Europe and I saw this out the window.
so
But if you
when
look,
they want, so let's say this is Ren. Let's say it's Ren. The word's Ren. So you might be right about this because for them to go to Russia, why did they fly this way?
right,
Yeah,
Why
the
can't they
flight
just
paths
fly up?
don't make sense.
right, exactly.
And if you put them
Yeah.
on this map, they go in a straight line.
Yeah, and if my brother who goes to China all the time,
Why can they fly up?
he tells me that he sees Alaska out the plane window. But, which makes total sense on this map, you go right past. You go right past that on the way to China. But on a
Yeah.
globe, if you look at it, it doesn't make any sense at all. Because you got to curve way up to Alaska to get to Russia from California. You know what I mean? On a globe. But on this, it makes total sense.
Because they're not going this way, they're going this way.
Right.
But I mean, it still makes sense. So when they fly, let's say they fly to Russia, they never fly from here to here. They fly
Right.
from here to
Yeah, I
here.
don't think there's
Exactly.
any flights that go
Exactly.
over this wall.
Was it
Yeah.
because it's round or?
It's because it's flat. And this is the right map. So if you look, you try to find a flight that goes from in
Yeah, all the way to
Argentina,
Argentina.
yeah, to somewhere over here, and you look, it's like, well, on a
They don't go
globe,
over the
right?
Antarctic.
Exactly. Yeah, on a
They're going
globe,
over
right? That's a long flight when it should be short.
Oh,
Interesting. Something to
It's
think about.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense to you guys.
well, at least we agree on something.
See ya.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Cool.
You ever felt the spin or seen the curve?
Sorry, what?
Have you ever felt the spin or seen the curve?
I know that I've watched the sunset lying down, and I've watched it a second time standing up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the Earth was flat, I would only be able to see the sunset once because it'd go over the edge instead of over the horizon.
What about perspective?
What do you mean?
You know how you can't see down the end of a long hallway because of perspective?
Yeah.
The same thing's happening to the sun. So as it goes farther away, it just goes out of your view.
So you're saying we're on a frisbee?
No, I don't think it has an edge. I think it's probably infinite plane, just goes on forever.
You think the world just doesn't end?
Yeah,
Where would you say the middle is if it just goes for infinite?
probably North Pole.
North Pole?
Yeah.
So
North
you
Pole.
believe that like gravity, like all objects have mass have a gravitational pull, right?
No, I don't believe
Can I
that.
take
You
a
don't
picture
believe
of your
that?
sign?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not scientifically proven.
Well,
Yeah, gravity is just a theory. And they need gravity, the magic force that explains how we can live on a ball. It's like the explanation that sticks water to a ball. It's space.
Hey, let me show you.
Well,
Let me show you a picture.
surface tension is why water usually sticks together.
How
even
the
if you
hell
try
are we
to break
running
it.
out of resources then, man?
What if we're not? Check out this picture.
No, we are.
Okay.
You see how North America is two different sizes there?
It might be from a different, angle. If you're going further out, things appear smaller.
It's over the edge.
But these are two
Yeah,
same size
NASA puts
spheres.
out like a photo of the Earth every year, and these are like different years. I mean, it just they admit they
Clouds
make the
and
pictures in
it's-
Photoshop.
Slighted. Well, yeah, they edited so the colors are nicer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but
did do
look at
that,
the
yeah.
size
It's
of
not a
North
photograph.
America. Like that's a huge difference on the ball.
You see how
Because
this?
it's on a different side of the
You
ball.
see this? You see this little highlight right here?
Yeah?
They just added that on a computer.
Yeah, probably because they want to make it look cool.
Yeah, but they made the whole thing on a computer.
But then they
Why
show
the
you the
fuck would we have
picture.
satellites then?
We don't have them. Think we see all the cell towers everywhere? Well, it makes more sense that they're using all the cell towers for your GPS, or they're using stuff that's flying around the. Do you know how far away a geostationary satellite is supposed to be?
Thousands of miles?
Yeah, about 22,000 miles. So you think that it just beams up your ESPN and beams it right back down 44,000 miles?
And they put them all up there in the
So you
70s.
say space is fake.
notifications,
Yeah.
it's alive.
How do you, what about like the Earth and the sun and the moon and the planets? Where are they just?
They're closer than NASA says they
Yeah,
are.
it's a Truman Show.
So a
Yeah,
little
we
bit
think they're
shimmy
doing
to
just
it.
what they look like, just going around us while the Earth just stays
It's
still.
actually what all ancient cultures believed. Up until 500 years ago, everybody believed the Earth was flat and motionless because it's obvious. You only think that because you were taught that as a little kid, that you're spinning on a ball.
Probably had a globe in every
Actually,
classroom
that's the
you ever
exact
had.
opposite I was taught.
What were you taught?
The whole Earth is on four turtles and
You were
was it-
taught that?
Yeah, man, I didn't grow up here, dude.
Where'd you grow up?
Country of Armenia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
That's cool. So people there don't believe in a spinning ball Earth?
People there don't have education and practice female genital mutilation because of it. So I think that they're not really
Well,
qualified to
they
make
cut
these choices.
they cut the skin off my penis.
Yeah,
so-
what about like male
It's a
genital
really dumb
mutilation? That's
idea.
okay.
I know. I don't think that we're
Yeah.
really that much
It's
better.
not an
you know?
ethical thing to do.
No, it's not. It sucks.
People
I
need
didn't
to be
have a choice.
educated more about
Yeah.
that. And as well as that being false.
Well, actually, that's why we're here, because I know it sounds crazy, but like, can you, besides the fake pictures of Earth from NASA, can you give any good reason that you live on a spinning ball?
Have you not seen satellites flying around?
They're just lights in the sky.
Yeah, man. That's airplanes?
Have you been in an airplane? Have you,
Yes,
have
I-
you-
Yes, I've been
Okay.
in airplanes.
Did you,
I lived in a different continent, man.
did you see the curve up there?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, man, you could literally
the
see
easiest way
it.
to tell the curve of the Earth is from the lunar eclipse.
On like leaves and
The
stuff.
shadow is not a straight line; it is a curved line.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple things about that, though. One of them is, it's called a selenilian. You ever heard of that?
Nope.
That is an eclipse.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay, thanks,
Have a
guys.
good day.
Yeah.
That's an eclipse when the sun and the moon are both visible in the sky at the same time. So that kind of rules out the fact that it's caused by the moon. And those are like fairly common, actually. And so that's one real easy one. The other thing is that, like, if you actually take two spheres and you simulate the eclipse, like, a sphere actually doesn't make a disc-shaped shadow on another sphere. It actually kind of wraps around it as you do it.
I've seen an example of an eclipse done really well with like to scale sizes of what they would say that the sizes are of the moon and the sun and this and that. And I can't tell you the exact video, but I think it's a really good representation for a piece of information, for an idea of how it would look and how it actually does compare. And that was on a video. I don't remember where, but they had everything set up how you'd imagine an eclipse to be set up from just generic science, and it actually worked pretty to a T.
Mm-hmm. You know what's hard to do is to make, if you take an object and a light source, and to make the shadow smaller than the object itself. Like, you know how the total eclipse is like 70 miles across? So that's really, if you try that in a lab, it's really hard to duplicate.
So they didn't do this in a lab. They did it with the natural sunrise,
Okay.
but they took basically they took all the supposed sizes of moon, earth, and other things, and had them so small that they could actually do the predicted space between them in feet.
Yeah.
So they were able to represent it with the real sun,
Okay.
but on a smaller scale, so you could still look at it. It's interesting.
Huh. Yeah. That
Definitely
is,
just something to look up, you know.
okay. Do you know the name of it, or?
I'll try and find it in the next few minutes before I head out,
Okay.
and if I do, I'll let you know.
So, do you trust the government pretty much, or?
No.
What
So.
about NASA?
I think that there's a lot of things I don't trust,
Uh-huh.
but
So, do you know that 9/11 was an inside job?
I mean, I have heard a bunch of different conspiracies
Okay.
and other philosophies about it, and there's certainly some that are in the realms of possibility, but that doesn't necessarily, you know, that doesn't mean I'm gonna believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like doesn't necessarily mean I believe that what the government's saying is true on that either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't have the information. I've seen a bunch of different theories, and I don't have the information to actually say certainly which one of those could be correct, or if any of them are even correct.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of things within our political system that not only do we not get the full truth, but we get maybe blatant
Yeah,
lies.
outright lies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like,
I know.
Yeah.
And the turning point for me was finding out they lied about the whole heliocentric model. I know it sounds crazy, but like if you actually, like to your eclipse point, if you actually do look up selenilian, and that completely debunks that point. So then it's like, then what else do you got? You
I'll
know?
look it up. Selenilian.
Yes, SEL. I might get the spelling wrong, but it's like selenilian.
Okay.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the flat Earth is kind of a interesting one because, like, you, in a way, like, you can see it through, like, with your own eyes. Like, you can see that water always lays at perfectly flat and level. And then they tell us that the Earth is, like, 3/4 water. Like, where is that bending around the ball? I mean, we can see too far across the water is another thing.
It's the number one reason to believe it's
We
flat.
can see
You can
too far.
see too far.
It's like, it totally just contradicts the
What about, like,
fact about what they say the size of the Earth is.
like event horizon? Like, you know, if you saw a ship sailing off, you'd certainly see the top of it last.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you had a zoom camera, you'd pull that baby right back into focus. I mean, it cuts off a little bit at the bottom because there's like a whole bunch of distortive effects of water.
Yeah, plus the waves that, you know, and even waves as it goes farther out, the angle of attack that you're looking at, it gets farther in the waves, and the shimmering mirage effect on the surface of the water are going to cover up the hull first, and then you're going to see the mass disappear, get smaller due to perspective. And so if you, the curvature formula for the Earth as a ball of 24,901 miles is 8 inches per mile squared. So that means there's 8 inches in the first mile, 32 in the second, and 64 in the third. And so by the time you get to 6 miles, there's supposed to be 24 feet of curvature, which we went looking for that, and it's just not there. I mean, that sounds like probably...
Well, the only way that you could, like, measure curvature would be on water.
Right,
because
yeah.
on land there's so much
Too much
contour
hill,
that you
yeah.
can't really determine.
That's what we
Right,
did.
yeah.
We went down and we took some long distance photos of Chicago across Lake Michigan. Shouldn't be able to see Chicago across the lake.
It's crazy, man. I know it sounds crazy, but NASA is lying, and it's your experience is telling you the truth. Like, we're not spinning. Like, when you look this way and watch the sunset, we're standing still while the sun goes that way.
We're not flying backwards at the speed of sound.
Faster than the speed of sound. That's what they say. Yeah.
Well, I always imagined it was rotation,
What do you mean?
not like we're not flying, or like, I mean, whatever that
Yeah,
means.
if we're-
in this situation, whatever that means, because we're not sitting on anything either. Like the Earth,
Mhm.
regardless if it's flat or round, it's not sitting on anything. It's just there. You know, we have no proof it's sitting on anything really, except for except for what it's on. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, like, if it's rotating, right, and the sun's it's rotating, then that would go below the horizon and then back above.
Yeah.
As it slowly rotates.
Yeah, it's the explanation they gave us, and for me it made sense for most of my life until I was exposed to this other information. And honestly, at first it sounded crazy until they said you can see Chicago from across Lake Michigan, and I looked, and sure enough, you can see it, and sure enough, you're not supposed to be able to see it. And from there, I just kept digging and digging, and like studying NASA and stuff.
You can look into like the founding of NASA and like who was involved with that, and make your hair stand up on end.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Cool. All right.
Can I give you this little slip of paper?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just his YouTube channel here.
Yeah, I'll look at it for
There's
sure.
2 YouTube channels. The one on top is ODD World. That's a good one. If you go down, he's got a video called "Why Do Some People Believe in a Flat Earth?" It's a great video to get started. And the second one is just my YouTube channel that I got a few things on.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, have a good one, man.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Yeah. You guys ever hear about flat Earth? The idea that we're not living in a spinning ball right now.
Oh, flat Earth?
Yeah.
Have I heard about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
What do you think about it?
I mean, I think that I'm on the side of like we live on the sphere.
That's cool. You sound a little bit open-minded about it.
Yeah.
So let me just. I think it's I thought it was a crazy idea until a couple of years ago, and then but it's like we don't feel like we're spinning right now, right? It feels like we're still, right? And
Right.
when we're watching the sunset, it doesn't feel like we're spinning backwards faster than the speed of sound, right? It feels like we're standing still while the sun goes farther along. So it's just basically that, you know, and like water lays level like this ocean right now is flat, it's not curving. And NASA is lying about everything. They're making all this stuff up in Hollywood, so once you take out NASA out of the equation, there's really like no proof that we're on a spinning ball anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, have a good one.